temperature is much better now.
Lovely weather.
Hi, Sachin.
Hi.
Paul Kennedy
Paul,
from the
lovely
ABC
to
in
see you.
Australia. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure. This is the net where our foundation is supporting NMMC, which is Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation Schools.
Yes.
And basically, they don't have any tournaments, school tournaments.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is we called almost kids from 50 plus schools in this area, and there were 500 plus children who came here, and they had to go through selection trials for 4 or 5 days.
Yes.
And then we shortlisted 17 children from that.
Yeah.
There are, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are 14 boys and 3 girls.
Yeah.
And we are going to try and encourage them. This camp would be free of cost for them for a year.
So full sponsorship,
And
they don't have to worry about
absolutely
anything.
Nothing. They just have to turn up and play.
Yeah. Does that ring a bell with your circumstances and what you needed at that age? I mean,
Yeah, of course, because my coach hardly charged us anything,
Yeah.
and it's about giving them fair opportunity in life. And if somebody is promising, then just because the facilities are not there, they should not be deprived
Yeah.
of participating in a tournament.
Yeah.
This is kind of a foundation for them.
Yeah.
So from here on, they may end up playing for some clubs.
Yeah.
If somebody is good,
Yep.
they could end up playing for their state team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is where it's starting for them, so I'm really pleased.
Yeah.
Next time, Khanna Sarpaj. Okay. The moment you stop being a student of the game, you stop progressing. I believe if you want to grow, you have to continue to be a student
Yeah.
of the sport. For that matter, any profession. This has been my passion. We come here and we learn so many things, and need not be just from your seniors, but sometimes from your juniors. And that's one thing I always told my colleagues. So the junior most player in the team had the right to tell me whatever he wanted to tell me. And I would invariably tell them while we were batting together, said, please don't wait for me to get out and then tell me in the dressing room that, you know what, I noticed this from non-strikers end.
Yeah.
Please tell me there and then so that we can continue enjoying
here.
ourselves in the middle, not in the dressing rooms.
Wanting to be part of the game, that was a big thing in your batting, wasn't it? Back at Shivaji Park, do you have memories of not wanting to go out because then you might have to field?
After completing my school, I had to go and bat. I had to go and bat in the second half of the game in a match. And if I got out, then I was expected to field. So the idea was to, not lose your wicket, stay as long as possible,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to field. And I did that.
Yeah.
It was.
It's more fun.
It gave me a lot of match practice.
Yeah.
However much you practice in the nets.
Yeah.
But eventually it boils down to the number of games that you play.
Yeah.
And that is where you're able to gauge how much you've improved. Whether you're being able to, if you're a batter, whether you're being able to find those gaps consistently. If you're a bowler, then how accurate are you? How consistently you're bowling in the areas, or your variations, or something that you've learnt in the nets. But are you able to execute those things in a match? So those kind of things, you can only evaluate in a match situation.
Yeah.
In a net, it's difficult to figure out where the gaps are,
Yeah.
who's bowling, and whether you should be focusing on playing out that spell, or you should be looking to take charge and be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Those kind of things you only learn playing matches. Well bowled and well played. Well bowled. Oh, I consider myself extremely lucky to have 2 brothers. My eldest brother Nitin, Ajit, and my sister Savita. So we used to spend a lot of time in the living room because you know, children always wanted to be together, and being the youngest in the family, I was possibly the most pampered one.
Yeah.
And whatever, I mean, I was a naughty kid, but whatever things I did, it was always forgiven. And to keep me entertained with their stories, the kind of music that we listened at home, and from that age, I got used to listening to old music. I mean, guys, my friends my age, they were not early on exposed to music from that generation, and because my parents also enjoyed music, so there used to be those old songs playing at home all the time.
Yeah.
And mother would be sometimes, you know, humming songs, you know,
She
while
sang-
cooking.
She sang to you while she was cooking.
Yeah.
So that environment, what does that do for you? And I'm wondering whether that was the cause of your great self-belief.
Yeah, the best part at home was I was able to have the freedom to choose whatever I wanted to be in life. Because I've noticed, I've come across many of my friends where they were forced into certain things. You know, never was a case in my life where my parents, my family members pushed me to do something which I didn't want to do. And right from early age, I would say my energy levels were so high, and my father and my mother, they both noticed that in me. And they realized that my heart was in sports. And though I came from an academic background, you know, where the society also that I lived in, it was known for writers, poets, you know, all these great personalities lived in that colony. And for all those to suddenly accept that, oh, so and so Mr. Tendulkar's son has chosen to play cricket, was a new thing. I mean, it was kind of unheard of. I mean, somebody was studying to be a doctor, the other one was trying to be a lawyer, engineer, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And suddenly you have one kid who's aspiring to be a cricketer.
Mad for cricket.
It was tough. And when I started playing cricket, it was pressure-free cricket, because there was no pressure of expectations. My father had given me the freedom to fail as well. You know, the problem starts when failure is not accepted at home by your family members or friends. Then, you know, your natural flair will never get reflected. And that natural energy, that enthusiasm was reflected on the field the way I played, because there was no pressure on me. And whenever I did well, there were no big celebrations at home. Everyone, I mean, we all got together. We did our normal ritual where we would offer a box of sweets to God and thank God for whatever has happened in my life. And an unwritten rule at home was, let the rest of the world think about the last match, we think about the next match. Whatever, whether it was a good match or wasn't so good, we still continue moving forward. We think about the next game. I remember after playing a match, whenever I got back home or from those rigorous practice sessions, I felt like a Formula One car at home, where I would be lying down and there will be various people doing things for me to help me play better cricket. I mean, entertaining me, keeping me in good space. My mother would be looking after my diet, you know, making sure that I ate proper food. Father would constantly, you know, when I fell asleep, because I would never tell them about injuries wherever I got hurt. So my father would literally check my body, and I was 12, 13. Father would literally check my body, and if I got up, you know, if he touched my knee or whatever, I got up, then he would know that I've hurt my knee today. He would ask me, do you want to go to a doctor, or, you know, those kind of things. My sister, who gave me the first cricket bat of my life, always made sure that I was in a good space. My eldest brother Nitin, he discussed various stories. He used to fly with Air India, so he discussed about his flying just to keep me mentally relaxed.
Yeah.
All those kind of things happened, and then obviously Ajit, my other brother, who actually got me into cricket.
Tell me about Ajit taking you to the man who would be so great for you in life, your coach.
I still remember the day where we were traveling by bus from Bandra to Shivaji Park. So Bandra is where I lived, Shivaji Park, of course, the ground where I started my cricket. He took me to Achrekar sir, and the reason for him to take me to Achrekar sir was because he also played school level cricket and almost got up to university level, so a good amount of club cricket. And then he realized that Achrekar sir used to make his students play a lot of practice matches, and that was something which was missing in his career.
Right.
He said, if I've missed out on that opportunity, I will not let that happen with Sachin.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he took me there. And then Achrekar sir's influence was huge on my career.
He suggested to your brother and your dad that you move house. Or
That
did
I
you change
changed
school?
my school.
Yes, yes.
That I changed my school. So first year I tried,
Yeah.
and I had to catch 2 buses to get to my school, and then come back home again after practice. The whole day used to be taken up, and I was running out of gas, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that year wasn't a great year for me. The decision was taken at home that I stay with my uncle and my aunt at Shivaji Park. The ground was like 200 meters away from home, and the school was not that far. I only had to catch 1 bus. So everything worked well for me, and I would join my parents only on weekends and my friends in Bandra, but otherwise I lived in Shivaji Park. I thought that was a turning point of my career, because I was able to channelize all my energy in the right direction and push myself to the limit where I couldn't do it anymore.
And your mum and dad would finish their work and come and visit you across
Whichever part of Mumbai they were in,
Yeah.
they would come to Dadar,
Yeah.
Shivaji Park, meet me, and there were a number of occasions where after having played the whole day I would be asleep. They would, and I could make out, even in my sleep, I could make out that they are, just saying good night to me, giving me a kiss on my forehead, and then going back home. I keep saying this to my children that I'll give you a car, whichever part of Mumbai you are in.
Yeah.
Every evening, sitting in that car, you have to go to Shivaji Park,
Yeah.
spend 10 minutes and go back home. I challenge you to do this for 2 months. I don't know how they did that.
Well, you're a parent now, yeah. What do you say about that level of commitment to helping your son reach his dreams?
Unreal, unreal. And my parents had a tough life, and things were not easy to look after the family. And of course, both my brothers, my sister, everyone. It was a combined effort, and that's why I say that I felt like a Formula One car where multiple guys were working for the team, and I was the face of the team.
Yeah.
But without everyone's contribution, my childhood wouldn't have been the same. From there on, things started changing in my life, and I started doing well in school cricket. And as far as my coach's contribution is concerned, I still remember he spotted that spark in me, and he channelized that energy. He made me play a lot of practice matches, to the extent where I would play 2 matches a day, so I would only bat. So I would bat in 1 game at Shivaji Park in the first innings, and in the second innings I would sit on a scooter and go to some other ground which was like 20-25 kilometers away and bat in the second innings at number 4. He always believed that I should bat at number 4. For some reason he told me number 4 is where you should be batting.
So when you're coaching young players now? What are you looking at?
Overall setup, I think for batting, balance is really important. And well played, balance, footwork, steady head, the grip, back lift, all those things are important. But intent is more important than anything else. Self-belief, you know, that body language. Every ball you're playing, you're making a statement to a bowler, to a fielding side. And every ball you're conveying that message. I realized early on in my career, at this stage, when I had just started, I was playing according to where the ball was pitched. So if it was pitched on and around off stump, then I had to play off drive. If it was marginally wider, then cover drive, straighter, then you play straight. Not to play across the line. All those kind of things were taught. But then after a few years, as I practiced more and more, got more confident about my batting, played more matches, then the same ball I was playing according to where the gaps were.
So you could take it from outside off stump and you could hit it through leg side.
Yeah, so you know, if early on I was expected to play off drive because the ball was pitched there. But while playing a match, if the fielder is there and I found a gap between a bowler and a mid-on fielder, then you know, marginally go across and still play a straight batted shot, bowler's back, to find gaps. So the ball was pitched exactly at the same spot, but you start figuring out where the gaps are, and that can only happen if you play more number of matches.
Well, the new batsman, Sachin Tendulkar.
When I started playing, I always wanted to be aggressive. The first thought in my mind was to hit a ball for a boundary. And if the ball was a decent ball, then I would look to punch it in a gap wherever. If it was better than that, then maybe, you know, guide it for a single. A little better than that, block it, and if I had to let the ball go, then
that's plan D.
That was my last option, to let the ball go.
Yes, the youngest player to score a Test 100 in Australia.
When you start playing more and more cricket with age, with experience, you figure out that there are times when you have to play out those good spells. Effective aggression is really important. Sometimes your team expects you to be there in the middle. You know, if the runs don't come at a certain, you know, strike rate, it's okay. But to not lose a wicket at that phase of the game becomes really important, especially in test matches where the game is played over 5 days. So you need to have that vision that if I play out the spell, how would the scoreboard look in 2 hours from now? You know.
And with the setup, you're talking about the setup here.
Shot. Good shot.
With the grip, Bradman moved from Bowral to Sydney and everyone tried to change his grip. And thankfully he didn't change it. Now something happened similar with you, right?
it happened with me as well. You know, and that happened because me and my brother Ajit, we shared one bat. Obviously my elder brother's bat. So it was a big size bat. And I was only 11. So I had to actually hold the bat right at the bottom of the handle.
Hands together.
Hands together. The bat was heavy. And if one held the bat right at the bottom of the handle, the weight obviously became lighter. So that's how I got into this habit of holding the bat at the bottom. My coach tried changing my grip. But literally within 15-20 minutes, he realized that I had lost control over my shots.
So his thought was too much bottom hand?
Yeah, I mean, he felt if I could hold the bat slightly up on the handle, it would change my game. But he was, you know, sharp enough to understand that it's taking away my natural flair, the control that I had on the ball. I was losing that control. And he said, you don't need to do all that. Get back to your normal grip.
And how old were you then? About 12?
I was around, I was 12.
And so sometimes it's better to let a young player do what is working rather than overcoach.
Just important to make minor adjustments here and there. You know, you can. It's like cooking food. if the salt is missing, you don't start cooking again. You just add salt. A little bit of variation can, change the taste.
Yeah.
And the same thing here.
Yeah.
Minor adjustments can change your game.
Yeah.
So it's important when not to coach as well.
A good shot, Mr. Bradman.
Yes, a very handy little practice. Quite useful for me.
Would you mind showing us one or two strokes now?
Just illustrate a few little shots for you, man.
Yes, just
Right here.
1930, Bradman's clinic. Well, hang on, we need some sound on this.
Straight drive. Then we have your 4 drives. Cover drive.
I've seen this.
Yeah. Goodness, this pull shot must have been devastating.
Yeah. I like the bat speed.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the bat speed I picked up because of the weight of the bat. And I actually got an opportunity to hold Sir Don's bat in Sydney.
Yeah, yeah.
Just next to the dressing room, there is a small area where Sir Don's bat is kept. So I got to hold his bat.
Yeah, and tell me, a bit
It's
different
light,
to yours.
Light, very, very light.
Yeah.
Very light.
He was an advocate of a light bat, wasn't he? He liked light bats.
I don't think in those days anyone played with a heavy bat as such. I thought 2.8, 2.9 was considered a heavy bat.
Yeah,
Mainly it was 2.6, 2.5, 2.6.
yeah.
And I played with 2.12, or sometimes heavier than that.
Yeah.
One of my Australian trips, a guy told me that my bat weighed 3.2. And suddenly, it started playing on my mind. Because till then I had played with that bat.
Yeah,
And I said, why don't you just get some weight off the bat?
yeah.
But I mean, I just went ahead with whatever I felt comfortable with.
It's a wonder how he manages to lift that bat up.
He's gone down the ground. That's a fine, clean hit. One bounce into the fence. So the Indians on the move here at the Wacker.
That's how I started, and then it became a habit. I developed that bat swing. So with a lighter bat, I did not feel comfortable. The timing was not there, and the bat swing was not there. I was not one of those guys who ended up playing those big flowing drives. I was more of a player who liked to punch the ball and use the weight of the bat, and that's why lightweight didn't work for me.
The back defensive shot was made that way. Then we have the late cut, your square cut made just in front of point. Then we have your 4 drive, leg glance, and you have what is known as the hook shot. That covers practically the whole of the area right round the field.
I'm not sure whether other batsmen in that early era
Yeah.
had so many shots
Yeah.
and names for all of them. He could
Yeah.
score 360 degrees like the modern player.
Absolutely.
Does that surprise you that he was doing that in 1930, that he could score all around the wicket?
Somebody who's well ahead of his time is always going to do that.
Yeah.
And you could see. I mean, that is what I could notice, that wherever he wanted to play and demonstrate it very briefly, you could see that control. I mean, you could see that authority and that confidence.
Yeah.
And showing, okay, back foot defense, you just go there and block the ball. Front foot defense, you go on the front foot and keep the ball there. I mean, it's just with ease that he demonstrated all these shots. And unfortunately, I mean, I didn't see much of Sir Don's batting because of not much footage available.
No.
But whatever one gets to see is superb.
Can you show us with your bat? Maybe
yeah,
provide us with your
My
repertoire.
bat is slightly different, Possibly Sir Don's bat was thinner than that.
About half as thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like playing with heavy bats because and I held the bat when I started the career. I held the bat there, so my grip was there, literally. And once you hold the bat right at the bottom of the handle, then the pickup point changes. You go further up, the pickup point kind of starts moving further and further down.
You had your bat behind your toe, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Whereas Bradman was
it
between.
depends. I mean, I sometimes stood like this. I
Yes.
changed my stance because I feel technique and comfort is important. There's no point being technically 100% right and being uncomfortable even before you face the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
So I relied a lot on my comfort, but at the same time, technique was important. So it was about adaptability and being able to adjust to situations. Because every time you're challenged with different kind of surfaces, the ball was, you know, either it was swinging normally or sometimes it was reversing.
Yep.
You know, sometimes it is turning, sometimes it's keeping low, sometimes there's more bounce.
And so Bradman's bat speed, is there any way you could demonstrate that for us?
The bat speed was just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's demonstrating pull and hook, you can actually, you know, it's like a whip.
Yeah.
It goes, you know, you can hear that. And
That's what his teammates said, it sounded like a whip.
Yes, it
Yeah.
did. The timing of my backlift, I adjusted when I had to play express quick bowling. You know, the number of bowlers who could really get the ball to zip through, and against those bowlers to gain extra time, you have to just start your preparation fraction early. So, you know, that fraction early, that movement gives you that extra time to be able to play wherever you want to play. So that was the only adjustment I did. But then eventually my stance, I kept changing my stance. It was all to do with what was going on between the years.
And Bradman's backlift was considered to be unconventional because it pointed to second slip, gully.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
How did
matter
you do
where
it?
you point the bat, but how it comes down matters.
Yes. Okay.
So, you know, I'm sure the bat was not coming down like this to play a cover drive. It was obviously, it was going there and then it's coming down straight. So, wherever the backlift may be, ideally, yes, maybe first slip, around first slip, second slip, around there. But when it comes down, then it has to come from inside. If it comes from there, then you're constantly going to leave the gap between the bat and pad. So let me do the same thing. I mean, let me start with back foot defense. Back foot defense, I felt, you know, you had to go across and be on top of the ball. So for me to be on top of the ball, I had to kind of balance on my toes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I'm able to adjust to that extra bounce. So do this. Front foot defense would be, again, you know, to make sure that you land on your heel and then go forward. So this would be kind of front foot defense. And once you've landed on your heel, to be able to transfer the weight, you need to go on your toe, the back foot toe.
Yeah.
But if you continue to be like this, then you'll suddenly feel that, you know, the back part of your the leg, the hamstring, it's going to be tight and it'll be kind of pulling you back.
Yeah.
So to be able to transfer the weight, this is the ideal movement.
Yep.
Then the late cut. The late cut, again, you go there and this is what I would do usually. Then it would be square cut of the back foot. That would be my square cut.
He had a front foot.
The front foot square cut.
You ever play a front foot cut?
Yeah, I mean, the front foot square cut would be kind of a square drive, is what I mean. It's just a different word.
Yeah.
But I thought it was this. So you still go on front foot and you, instead of going there with a vertical bat, you kind of go with horizontal bat. Then I think he played cover drive, off drive, straight drive and on drive. So cover drive would be, again, I mean, all these drives, like Sir Don said, they're exactly the same. You pick the line and accordingly decide where you're going to play. If it's further away from me, then it's going to be cover drive there. So like I said, that I was not one of those guys who actually played a flowing cover drive as such because of the weight of the bat. I always liked punching the drive, and I focused a lot on my elbow, left elbow. If the left elbow was going high up, that is what my coach and my brother taught me. If my left elbow was going high up while playing the drive, and most important thing was also the pointing of my front foot toe.
Yep.
So wherever I intended to hit the ball, whether it was cover or for that matter off drive, the toe need to be pointing in that direction. When you are playing straight drive, yes, you point your toe straight or sometimes between the bowler and mid-off, a little bit there, and you adjust with the face of the bat.
Yeah.
That would be the straight drive. So this would be the straight drive.
Your favourite shot?
And yeah, I enjoyed playing straight drive. made a big statement there because you know, nobody likes to see the full face of the bat. The bowler hates it.
Yeah. You have to turn around and watch it go to the fence.
Yeah. And then you play the on drive. I mean, the on drive again, you continue maintaining your side on position, and just with the face of the bat, you kind of decide where you want to hit the ball.
Yep.
Whether you want to hit the ball to mid on or to mid wicket, or for that matter to square leg. But your position doesn't change. Because you want to play the ball to mid wicket, you never go there and you play.
Yeah.
You continue maintaining your side on position, and then you play the ball there. Then it was pull shot, where you go there. Once you've picked the length, then you go there. That would be pull shot. Hook would be, again, if it's shorter and the ball is climbing up, then you go on top of the ball, you go there. Again, all these shots, I think.
You forgot leg glance, front foot and back foot leg
the
glance.
leg glance again, you still continue maintaining your side on position and you wait for the ball to come. This would be the leg glance, and if you have to flick, then it's again the same position, but you go much harder on the ball.
Can I add one more? Because I watched you play it a lot of times against Australia, particularly in Perth.
Yeah.
Get up the back there and that back foot punch.
Yeah,
Is that what you call that?
I had
There
to.
are variations, I know.
I realized early on in my career that if I have to be successful against fast bowlers away from India, then I should be able to punch on my back foot and score runs. So I normally, to be able to generate power and to maintain that balance, I liked a lot going on my toes. And I thought I was able to transfer that power behind the ball.
Yep.
So my back foot shots invariably would be there and this. So I would kind of punch the ball, not go full flow.
Yeah.
So that was possibly because of the weight of the bat,
The heavy bat, yeah.
and the meat, where, you know, if I got at the right spot, then
Just
I
as
was gonna
devastating
get
for the
some
bowlers.
The other one was, I mean, which I played in Test cricket as well. I thought somewhere where I was able to execute quite a bit was in 2001 in South Africa. So early on in my career, we were always taught to be on top of the ball. So, and that's the reason I started going on my toes, to be on top of the ball, to punch or to play cut shots, whatever. But then also we were asked to leave the ball if it was any shorter than that, then to let the ball go. Because you cannot be on top of the ball to something which is there. I mean, if you look to keep it down, then it's exactly at a catching height where the fielders are.
Yeah.
So in 2001, we were playing South Africa in Bloemfontein. And I thought, being on top of the ball is not helping us score runs. Why not get under the ball and play over slip cordon in Test cricket?
That's awesome. That's one for the photographers and one for our memory.
Test cricket, very, very rarely you would find a third man in place. So I felt that was a scoring opportunity rather than letting the ball go, because by nature, instinctively, I wanted to hit the ball and score runs.
Yeah.
So to let the ball go was my last option. So I thought, if I get time, I'm just going to get under the ball and just use the full face of the bat and hit it over slip cordon, because there is no third man. Even if I don't get it absolutely in the middle of the bat, because of the pace of the ball, it's going to fly over the slips.
You'll have to put someone back there and readjust the field.
To play mind games.
Yeah.
Because, you know, then you have one less catching fielder in slip cordon.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to score runs where there are no fielders.
Yeah.
And if there are no fielders in this area, you find ways to hit the ball there.
Yeah. Even before the delivery's coming, you were on the balls of your feet. It didn't
Yeah,
look like you had a trigger movement, but what was it?
No, I didn't. Ideally, you know, I would stay still.
Yeah.
And then depending on my feel, I mean, there were days when, you know, I kind of moved slightly forward. And there were occasions where I moved slightly backwards, depending on what I was anticipating the bowler to bowl. Because there are constantly mind games being played.
Yeah,
So
but that's
you know,
really
you kind
interesting.
of get into bowler's head. My trigger movement depended on how the pitch was playing, how the bowler was bowling,
Yeah.
and who was bowling.
Yeah. So that's a key difference, isn't it, in coaching? Rather than have coached someone to do the same thing over and over, that might be counterproductive.
Well,
to
but
scoring.
there are guys who prefer to do those same things again and again, and
Back and across.
there are guys. I mean, I depended a lot on my feel.
Yeah.
So, like I said, technique and comfort was important to
Yep.
me. So I felt there were times where if I didn't have any trigger movement, I was marginally late on the ball.
Yeah.
So either I had to go on back foot or slightly on front foot. So trigger movement is always a preparation to play the ball. It's never a commitment. The
Yeah.
moment you commit yourself, if it's on back foot, and if you've committed to be on back foot, you'll always be late getting on front foot.
Yeah.
But trigger movement is merely preparation for me. So whatever helped me prepare the best to play the ball, I did that.
How much of cricket is physical and how much is mental, do you think?
I suppose a lot of it is mental, although that never intruded in my particular play. In other words, I didn't let the mental side of it worry me. I always had confidence in my own ability. If I made a mistake, I felt that 9 times out of 10 it was a physical mistake, that I had tried to do something and I didn't get there in time. I was too slow or something like that. But I'm sure with a lot of players, their mental attitude is terribly important. They imagine there are difficulties that are not really there.
There was an amazing interview that Bradman gave in 1931 where they said to him, "Do you get nervous?" And he said he doesn't get nervous. He gets more nervous in front of 60 people than 60,000 people. Do you feel the same way about your performance? You had so much pressure on you. World Cups, the mood of the nation was in your hands.
No, I got right from my first game in my life till the last game in my life. I got nervous before I was playing.
Yeah.
And once I walked out in the middle, I was fine. But till that moment, I used to be like, you know, when do I get to go in and bat?
Yeah.
You know, let me play the first ball.
Yeah.
And after that, everything was fine.
Where does that come from, Sachin? Most people get to the crease and start shaking.
No, I felt comfortable. Then it was all about owning 22 yards and controlling the game. There were occasions when I was not able to do so. There were occasions when I did it really well. But I always got nervous. And I kind of accepted that, because the first 10 years of my life, I was not able to sleep on the eve of the game. I was restless, jittery, and literally till 2, 3 a.m. I would be tossing and turning in bed. But then later on I started accepting that. And the day I started accepting that this is the way I prepare before a game, then things were different. So the first 10 years were tough.
That's an interesting mindset. So you, instead of trying to reject the nervousness, you understand it, it's part of preparation.
Yeah, it was
and
all
you go with
happening. It was all happening so that I could perform well.
Yeah.
It was just part of preparation. I would in fact, one of those things which my brother taught me, to right from my school days, to pack my bag on the eve of the game, so that somewhere your subconscious mind starts preparing for the game. And I went to the extent, even at international level, where I would be ironing my clothes in the room, so that while looking at my clothes and all that, I was somewhere switching on for the game.
Yeah.
And that was important, because I found number of colleagues, so if the bus was leaving at 9 a.m. for a test match, at 8:55 they would be kind of getting ready and saying, "Oh, I've forgotten my socks, I've forgotten my t-shirt," and all this kind of thing. I never wanted to be in that position. I always wanted to make sure that my kit was packed, my handbag was packed on the eve of the test match.
I'm going to ask you about competitiveness. So 98, well established, and you go up against Warne. We've got a great quote from Bradman that says the game is at its pinnacle when there's a great batsman in a contest with a great slow bowler.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that series was termed as Warne versus Tendulkar, and I had to remind our media, rather all across the globe, that it is Australia versus India and it's not Warne versus Tendulkar. It was a challenging series. One had to prepare himself. I mean, I had to prepare myself differently, and Warne was possibly at that stage the only bowler in world cricket who went around the wicket to get you out. Normally the bowlers would go around the wicket to bowl defensive line to slow down the game, but he would go around the wicket to get you out.
Yeah.
And I hadn't faced anyone till then who went around the wicket to get me out. You know, just to bowl dot balls, it was fine, and for that you can, you know, either block the ball or pad the ball. But against Warne, I wanted to have multiple options, and that's when I called a few of my Mumbai colleagues who played cricket with me, first class cricket. I got them to bowl around the wicket, be it a left arm spinner or a leg spinner, and I scruffed up that area. And then I decided, okay, what are my scoring options and what are my defensive options? I mean, if I have to just survive a couple of overs before tea or before end of the day's play, what are the options that where I need not take any risk? And there were a few options which were risky options, but if I practiced enough, then those risky options I become familiar with them.
And you attacked.
And I attacked. I mean, I just felt, you know, I had prepared myself for that. But the funny thing is, I mean, we played against Australia. Mumbai first class team, Ranji team, played against Australia as a practice game for Australia. And I got runs in that match. I got a double 100, and my friends were congratulating me. Said, you look in sublime touch and all those kind of things. And I said, you know what? Warne hasn't shown the trump card to me. He hasn't bowled a single ball round the wicket.
Yeah.
And at a critical stage in a test match, I know for sure that he's going to go around the wicket.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for that. I'm restless about that particular moment because I have not experienced what it is. So I cannot be overconfident. I cannot get carried away with this particular match. And rightly so, in Chennai, in the second innings, Warne goes around the wicket to get me out. And that was, I felt that was a crucial moment because Australia had taken lead in the first innings. And I had spoken in the dressing room at that time, just a brief chat of 30 seconds. I said, whoever scores, you know, big runs, and on that particular surface, big runs were possibly, you know, 70, 80 runs.
Yes.
You know, because the ball was turning, it was bouncing. I said, whoever gets runs in the second innings, those runs will be worth in gold.
And you made 155.
I got runs in the second innings, and that crucial moment. But the whole idea was to, when the pitch was scruffed up, I had two options. One was, you know, to go over mid-wicket if the length was close enough or the line was wide. And the second option was, if the ball was landing in the rough patches, then to be on top of the ball. So if I'm on top of the ball, then the unevenness of the surface doesn't come into play at all because I am top of the ball. So if I am playing a traditional sweep shot, if the ball bounces more, it's going to take the top edge and either go to fine leg or deep square leg.
The twin centuries, Desert Storm, Sharjah, have you played any better than those one-day international series?
Yeah, there have been
We've interviewed
occasions.
Damien Fleming.
Yes.
They just couldn't figure you out, or they just couldn't get you out.
I think athletes invariably say that, you know, they were in that zone, and I felt I was in that zone where I think my subconscious mind had taken over, and I could actually figure out what the bowler was trying to bowl, because you know you end up playing certain shots, and there are occasions when the bowler knows what the batter is going to do, or where the areas where the batter is uncomfortable, and so is the case with batter. The batter knows where the bowler is uncomfortable and he's not liking it.
So that was a time when you had more time. You
Yeah,
felt like
that
you
was
had
that. Those were the games where I felt, yes, I mean the ball was hitting the center of the bat and I was able to play whatever I thought I would.
He goes for it, he gets it. What a cracking shot from Tendulkar.
Tell me what you've learned over your long time in cricket and in batting.
In batting, one thing I noticed was, I think we think differently every time at least I mean I can say that every time I went out to bat, I think differently, and I realized that when I was batting at my best, my conscious mind was always at the non-striker's end and my subconscious mind was at the striker's end. And the difference between this is conscious mind, whatever you're seeing and you're absorbing information, because bowler is constantly asking you questions, be it a leg spin or a googly or outswing or inswing or whatever that is, your conscious mind has to pick that. And then within that fraction of a second, once you've picked, you have to surrender yourself to your subconscious mind, which your subconscious mind knows how to react and how to play, provided your conscious mind has picked the right information from the bowling end. Subconscious mind, I would say, knows how to play a cover drive or how to play an off drive or how to leave a ball. So when the ball is delivered, my subconscious mind never tells me, oh, this is a cover drive ball, now you hit a cover drive. There's not that much time. But the moment you've surrendered yourself to your subconscious mind at striker's end, whatever is stored in the computer, as we call it, it takes over and you react. But to be able to react correctly, your conscious mind has to pick what is happening at the bowling end.
It must be very tough to hand over your conscious mind to your subconscious and trust that it'll be okay.
It is, because a number of guys say keep your mind blank.
Yeah.
It's impossible to keep your mind blank. It's the toughest thing to do, according to me, to keep your mind blank. I would say to be able to surrender yourself to subconscious mind, you can keep your conscious mind occupied with some other thought. When the bowler starts running in, and even before the ball is released, you're thinking, oh, this could be an outswing or it could be a bouncer or a slower ball or yorker, but the ball hasn't been released yet. So that is your conscious mind playing with you.
That's right. Some batsmen are thinking, don't get out.
Yeah. So keep your conscious mind occupied. So once you've kept your conscious mind occupied, your subconscious mind has to take over. And that's when you are merely reacting to what you see. And that's the only reason I say that to be able to react correctly, your conscious mind has to pick what the bowler is trying to do. And that's why I say focus on what the bowler is trying to do.
You know, there's only very few people that would understand Bradman's fame. He, of course, was a trailblazer through the 30s, very different time, but so famous. Absolutely. And you know what that feels like. You have that type of understanding of how challenging it is to maintain that lifestyle of integrity and to reject the fame.
It's a package deal, and a number of people ask me, what about your privacy? Do you get any privacy? And I feel, you know, it's a blessing. People love you, they wish well for you. I wouldn't compromise on anything. I mean, I think whatever I have received so far in my life, it's a blessing from up above. You know, I think without all that, life wouldn't have been the same. You know, it gave me the strength to go out and give my best for the country. You know, and then that's all I wanted to do as a child. So there are very few people in this world, you know, who love doing something, and people actually love watching what they are doing. So for me, that combination worked brilliantly.
Was there ever a time where the motivation started to diminish?
There were challenging moments along the way, and that is where the family comes into play. Of course, the initial part of my career before I got married, it was my parents, my uncle and my aunt whom I stayed with, both my brothers, my sister, and then when I got married it was Anjali, her parents, then Sara and Arjun, my children. I think all these guys coming together and forming a solid team made all the difference, because you know it's virtually impossible that a 24-year-long career there are not going to be highs and lows. I mean, it cannot be, the graph cannot go at one level. I mean, there are going to be ups and downs, and their support when things were not going the way I wanted them to meant a lot, you know, because without that, I don't know. I mean, I would have struggled, to be honest.
In your farewell speech, you said Anjali was the best partnership of your life.
Absolutely.
Bradman the same, with his long-standing marriage as well. It's something in that.
I think to be so patient in this partnership was really important, and to allow me to go out and play every day and not call me once. I mean, I don't remember her calling me. I mean, I was discussing this with my friend. Never did she call me to ask when is your practice getting over, what time are you coming back home, we have to go out or do this, that, whatever. I mean, it was, everything was after your practice session was done, we'll adjust accordingly. But never did she call me. And you know, when you are a companion of an athlete, you know, athlete goes through various emotions, you know, highs and lows, and that time the mood can change. And then initially I remember Anjali telling me, are you sulking with me? I said, no, I'm just preparing for the game tomorrow. I'm in a different zone now. So then she started understanding that, you know, this guy goes in a different world altogether, and that used to happen way before the game started. You know, sometimes you know, 48 hours before the game, and it depended on which game I was playing and what I was expected to do, and all those kind of things would kind of start going on in my head, and she got used to it. As the time went by, she got used to it and started giving me my space.
Yeah, it's amazing to get that masterclass from you. So thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Hey, take Gabby. I'm going to go there as well. Hello, hello. How's the practice going? Good? Yes, sir. Very good. Hello. Hello, hello. You guys having fun? Very good.